If somebody were to ask me what was the biggest awakening in 2025 and where people started realizing that they have a very important tool at hand, and I think I have to pinpoint one of those things, it's going to be the GLP-1 agonist. This was the year of the revolution of GLP-1 agonists. Hello guys, this is Dr. Den from Juvanni, and we are going to go through an hour of talking about longevity treatments, protocols, and if you're interested in health, anti-aging, longevity, please hang around. And I'm going to be answering a lot of questions. For those of you who may not know me, this is Dr. Din, and I am going live from New York. What do? I do longevity and anti-aging, and my office is in New York. My physical location of the office where we do these treatments is in New York. And we are going to start talking about anti-aging treatments and protocols and what is in and what is not and what is going to be in, what was in 2025. And I think it was just like a few seconds ago that 2025 started, and look, today is 11/11 and we're already out of this year almost. So what's going to be in next year? What is going to be, what worked, what didn't work? So all those kind of answers, I'll attempt to answer whatever I can. But again, like if somebody were to ask me what was the biggest awakening in 2025 and where people started realizing that they have a very important tool at hand, and I think I have to pinpoint one of those things, it's going to be the GLP-1 agonist. This was the year of the revolution of GLP-1 agonists, that everybody either became interested in finding out more. They either started the journey or they continued the journey, or they are planning to start their journey in the upcoming years. And some are waiting for their insurances to pick up the tab. Some are waiting for their husbands to pick up the tab. Some are waiting for their children to pick up the tab. But somebody's going to pick up the tab, and then everybody's going to be on this medication. So that's what is going on. But that's one of my top thing that I would say was the year of 2025. In year 2025, what medication captured our fancy? It was the GLP-1 agonists. And for those of you who may not recognize this medication with its pharmacological name, these are the brand names available, such as Wegovy, Ozempic, which is the generic of semaglutide, and then the generic is semaglutide, and or else you may have heard of the names Mounjaro or Zepbound, which is also generically available as tirzepatide. And recently, I don't know if you heard about how the president was giving this press conference about reducing the prices of these medications. And I think one of the heads of one of the pharmacological heads just fainted. And I thought he fainted after hearing the new price. But that's the joke. Jokes aside, one of the best news that I've heard all month was these medications are so super expensive. And that's one of the reasons that even the insurances don't want to give it to you. And they want to give you the cheapest available compound in their arsenal. And I think that by controlling the prices, Americans will be able to benefit out of this as much as the other countries are, because in other countries, you can buy these medications at a lot cheaper. I think Americans are paying for all the price. Anyway, one of the things that people ask me about is like what can they use for their hair, the anti-aging of their hair. Because one of the very important things that happens to people as they age is that they lose their hair. Either they lose their hair altogether, or it stops growing as much and it starts breaking when you try to grow it, and it starts thinning. So not only it stops to grow or grow long, but it also like thins in the circumference gets thin. So before I tell you all the things, all the nice things that you can do for your hair, one thing that I like to make people understand is that your hair is just an extension of your skin. And skin, the chronic skin failure of your skin will manifest itself foremost as hair loss or hair thinning. And a lot of menopausal and perimenopausal women see the deterioration in the quality and firmness and length of their hair, sometimes in their perimenopausal and menopausal years. But this impact on your hair and its health is can sometimes be even felt when you are younger, either when you if you go through some debilitating disease, or some just stressful period of time, or sometimes women when they have like a couple of children one on top of the other, just because they're trying to catch up with their childbearing years, after getting depleted so much due to creating a couple of children, they sometimes end up losing a lot of their hair. And that hair loss can be treated. So when you understand that your hair is an extension of your skin, and when your skin gets depleted, one of the first functions it shuts off is your hair. And that's how you lose hair. And listen, one of the impacts of COVID was also that people who suffered from long COVID or even just one-time COVID, they ended up complaining about hair loss as a sequelae of that illness. So I recommend a lot of treatments for hair. However, one of my most favorite treatments for hair loss or ongoing hair loss, first to stop that hair loss in its track, it is very important for you to give yourself all the nutrients and supplements that your skin needs, because the hair shut out because your skin was depleted. And it is like just an extension of your skin. So the depletion of your skin and the supplements that your skin needs is very important. So one of the things that I always like to recommend people to do, and actually the reason I'm on right now is because I'm doing my own infusion. So if you want to look up here, you can see that's a bag that's going inside me. And it's like a very routine procedure that we do in United States, especially in my part of the world. They're very common. They're very useful. Not all formulas are the same. Most people use it for hydration and other purposes, but I like to use my formula, and the formula that we have created for like our house blend is specifically for skin and hair. It's doesn't do much else. It's like, I mean, collateral benefits of this bag are multi-layered and they go very deep for sure. However, the purpose of creation of this bag was hair loss, a prevention of hair loss and menopause, and prevention of the sluggishness, metabolic sluggishness of menopause. So this bag sometimes acts like an oil change and replenishment of all the nutrients and minerals and whatever else your body needs. Now, this is not enough. Your hair is a very important kind of a particle of your skin. So it not only requires all the other, some of these nutrients that I am giving myself in this bag, but it also needs adequate amount of protein. And one of the things that I always tell all my ladies that please, if you're suffering from hair thinning or hair loss, please check how much protein you're taking. And that is a very important part, because you may be lacking in protein intake. So that's also super important when you're losing hair to fix it. So besides this, so this is something that, one question people ask me is, how often do I do this, and do I do this now all the time? And the answer is yes. If you want to do this for as long as you want to keep your hair. How long do you want to keep your hair? Because after menopause, everything is supposed to deteriorate and then finally disintegrate. So it starts, you keep your assets, whatever the manifestation of your genetic code is, you reach it, and then you reach your peak, and then you hold that flow for as long as possible. So whether it's your beautiful teeth, how long do you want to keep it? Whether it's your beautiful skin, how long do you keep it? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. And with that, you would say, okay, if I want to fix my hair and I know that I'm going to experience hair loss, what are the things that I can do that can keep my hair going? So, yes, it is something that I like to do once a month. And as you get older, sometimes you want to do it twice a month also. If you're experiencing, you know, a lot of stress, for instance, or some illness or sickness, you're battling something bigger than you, then that is, I would say, try to do it a little more often. But normally, like if you do it once a month, it's sufficient for you to have nice, thick, full hair, plus all the things that you do at home. So I would say, please make sure that your nutrition is good, your stress is in control, your hydration is good, your sleep is good, all of those things. What else? Then, one other thing, just like you moisturize your skin, like when you wake up in the morning, you do things for your skin, for your facial skin, at least for your face and neck. I always tell people, ladies, that your skin, for your face, it shouldn't stop here. You should extend the love for the moisture and serum and love down to your neck, and maybe even further down to your décolleté. Similarly, for your hair, there is also things that are moisturizing and bonding. So usually one of the things that I have found in my career to be extremely wonderful, like I've come from a place where we use a lot of hair oils, hair products, just because we have like nice hair, like women who have good hair, they want to keep it together, they want to keep it strong, they want to, so if you do, one of the things I like to tell people is to try, if you've never tried, something called Olaplex No. 7. Now this is a bonding oil. It shines, strengthens, and also repairs. So it's a very nice, it's like something that you can get at a Sephora or something. We like to sell large bottles of it. It should last you, if you apply it once or twice a day on the ends of your hair or something, that would be like really good, especially if you're showering or you washed it. You must moisturize it with something that is really firming and repairing. So it will remove a lot of hair damage, the damage that is caused by just brushing or blow drying or whatever else. So if you have long hair, this is one of my very simple ways to protect your hair after, if you after treating it with anything. So aside from what's in the bag. So what is the topical thing that you can do? So just like you moisturize your face, please also consider moisturizing your hair every day. And it's very, very important. And now the thing is that many times there are oils that leave a residue on your hair, and that may not be good. So one thing that I like about this particular brand is, again, it's Olaplex. Listen, I don't make any money out of this. This is like, I'm just like their free advertiser, because I just think that this is such a good thing, and it's not cheap, it's expensive. A small tiny bottle will cost you $50 or so, but it's 100% worth its weight in gold. That's what it is. And the reason I like it is it's so light. So when you put it, just like what is a good serum, you put it on your skin and it gets absorbed right away, and it doesn't leave any sticky residue on your skin. So you don't get like muddy through the day. It won't just, all the dirt that you go through is not going to just get stuck to your face. So similarly for your hair also, if you put like a moisturizer that is very oily, it's going to grab all the dirt and that's flying around us also. So you want to use something that is very light, very natural, doesn't make it too sticky, so it's not sticking to everything. So that's and but on the other hand, it also repairs and bonds, and like it also smells nice, and it doesn't have too many ingredients that I could see that were bad. So that's my serum for the so for their hair. I like something called Olaplex #7. Try it if you've never tried it. Go to your Sephora or go on Amazon and order it. I mean, I don't sell it. I should, I guess. I should put it on my website. So if you guys want me to order it for you, but it is so easily available. You can buy it on Amazon and it will be fine. You just have to be careful that you're buying it from providers who don't sell you fake products. Now, I will show you another product. So one of the questions that people ask me is like, what is a good serum for your skin? What is an anti-aging? What is the best anti-aging? So what I am going to show you are the ones that I love. And I found and I've been working in the realm of beauty and health for a very long time. It's been over a decade easily, and maybe close to 14 years, but definitely over 11 years I've been working in this field. And one of the things that has stuck with me as far as serums are concerned for skin is the SkinCeuticals Ferulic serum. I know there are cheap knockoffs, and there are people try to copy it. There's like even on TikTok, I was looking at somebody who was showing something called Timeless, which I bought. I actually bought a CE Ferulic from TikTok from someone, and it was terrible. It was like water. And however, if you were to use this one, the real one, when you apply it, you know that it did something. And it's really, so there is no, like I tried so many serums, and this is the holy grail. It's a holy grail of skin serums. It's by SkinCeuticals. This is, I think, their only serum that I really like. I have tried their PTOX also, which is like another kind, which is called liquid Botox. I've tried their other products also, but every skincare line has this one superstar, and I think they created this superstar, and now it's like done. And the moment they ran out of that patent, so many people in the market tried to, copy it. But anyway, how do you know if a product is fake or authentic? So because we're actually sellers of these products. So because we're a doctor's office, we do a lot of dermatology, we do a lot of skincare. So we have connections with the actual companies, and we are licensed to get product from them and directly, rather than buying it from a third party. So you need to find these. So this is medical grade skincare. So yes, it is a little expensive. It's a little more high end, but it is 100% worth your time and money to use these products, especially when you get into your menopausal years. Or if you're a man, once you get into your andropausal years, which is, just like women go through menopause, men go through andropause. And listen, if you think menopause is bad, andropause is no good, not easy. It's quite hectic, and it creates a lot of trouble for men. Men lose their hair, they gain weight, they gain metabolic sluggishness just like women, so they pack on the pounds, and it's very hard for them to remove it. They develop not only high blood pressure, many of them develop pre-diabetes, many of them develop a lot of dyslipidemia, so your cholesterol starts misbehaving. They start developing prostate issues. They start developing issues with their sexual equipment also, which results in things like erectile dysfunction and impotence. And men also develop urinary incontinence as well as frequency and all those other trouble. Andropause for men is also an all system pause. So a lot of their things are falling apart around that time. Similarly, in women, it manifests a little early. So women experience menopause a little earlier in life, and the reason it happens to women early is because we can tell when a woman is going through menopause because she stops having her period. So she knows that she's gone through some changes, and then the changes, follow. However, men have a different problem. They start developing signs and symptoms of erectile dysfunction. However, when they have sexual dysfunction, they are going to go and meet with their urologist, and their urologist is going to put them on some medication like Viagra or Cialis. And or they may even get some testosterone if they have low testosterone. However, that is sometimes not enough to lift them out of their andropausal symptoms. We're just like symptomatically treating them. We're not treating their andropause. We're not treating their pause. We're just treating the symptoms of pause in different ways. And similarly, women had the same exact issue where women now, one of the best news that we heard all this year is the fact that FDA has removed the black box warning from hormone replacement therapy and for women. And definitely now women will be not that scared to use these medications that can be life-saving for them. And I'm very happy, and I'm so grateful for that, because we have lost so many women to menopause and over the last decade, and it is only because of incorrect conclusions from a defective study that they conducted. So they created a study in a women's health initiative, which is one of the largest studies that had ever been conducted in the United States. And that study not only picked women that had been postmenopausal for many years. Even the group of women that was studied was like way beyond menopause, and then they were restarted on and were already in so many several risk factors had already happened to them, and then they were started on hormone replacement therapy, and many of them had adverse reactions. Now, going back, when they went and they looked at what conclusions to draw from that study, what they ended up doing was that they drew all the wrong conclusions. Instead of saying that, oh, maybe we selected this pool of ladies, which was, not the appropriate pool for this study, they just said, oh, we gave them these medications, and this is what is causing cancer and stroke and whatever, creating a panic in the world of women's health, where the next two generations of women that went through menopause without any help, without any coverage, and to live in a first world country and to go through such a shabby way to go through menopause is like, just, it blows my mind. But anyway, I'm very grateful that finally good sense has come to town. And thank you to all the people who created this. I would say it is a big change and a revolution in medicine, where we have overturned all the wrong conclusions that we had created almost a decade ago, and we've made this right. And now is the time that we'll have to now go and train people, because guess what else happened? When these incorrect conclusions were derived from WHI study about HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, one of the things that ended up happening is that we also stopped training our residents and our future doctors how to treat it. So just like two generations of women did not get appropriate direction how to tackle menopause, similarly, we also created a generation of doctors who don't know how to diagnose and treat the menopausal symptoms in women. So one of my very favorite things to do in my office is to coach women about how to appropriately go through menopause with agency and without letting your system break down just in the midst of your life. Because by the time you're going to experience menopause, you're nowhere near dying. You shouldn't be. And to live in a state of depletion and deficiency and suffering and pain and many of your systems not working for the next 30, 40 years is like going through life in a very, you know, shabby way, I would say. And I think that that is something that we need to change. Do hair dyes and treatments like straightening cause hair loss? Yes. So it depends on what you're using. And if you're using chemicals that are very harsh and you're using them all the time, especially when girls try to bleach their hair and they strip out all the pigment and they again put in a different kind of pigment, that's going to definitely damage your hair follicle. Then the other thing that girls do is also the straightening. So when you do the straightening, some of the things that many of the straighteners have is one of the things they used to have is called formaldehyde, which was like which was very destructive for hair. So even if your hair got straighter because they did so much stuff in and burnt it into your hair, but I think that many of those things were not only harmful to your hair, but they had, the treatments like which were like keratin treatments for straightening. They also found out that some of those treatments have small chemicals which can cause cancer. So they're carcinogenic. So yeah, you got to be very, very careful. Why doctors recommend pills for treating pelvic aging instead of treatments less invasive. So pelvic aging, when we say pelvic aging, maybe what you mean is like if women during menopause are experiencing urinary incontinence, for instance, there is a possibility that you might get to somebody might prescribe you a pill for urinary incontinence. However, some of the treatments for incontinence is via a laser, and a laser is like a little more expensive, but it is curative. And sometimes they give you pills which you might end up taking for the rest of your life. But again, it's something that, if your insurance is covering it, people usually, in your health insurance, one of the things that we have to understand is that your health insurance is like a car insurance, and it only gets triggered when you are in a state of disease, or dysfunction. So it only covers your diseases. It does not cover your health and your wellness. So many health, wellness, and cosmetics or beauty are out of pocket costs, and that is something that we all need to do. So they give you pills that you'll end up taking for the rest of your life. How do I know if what I'm seeing is loose skin or just extra fat on my face or body? Well, go and meet with the doctor. So if you go and meet with your doctor, whoever is your skin doctor, so your skin doctor should be able to tell where you are biologically, chronologically, and biologically. Chronologically, whatever your age is, that's your age. But biologically, biologic age is how your cell is doing. So sometimes chronologically, you may be 60, but your cell age might be 25, and that is very possible. At what age is it common to start noticing chronic skin failure? So, chronic skin failure is so just like all organs age and eventually disintegrate and fail. Similarly, your skin also, as you go through time and gravity and hormonal imbalance and stress and childbearing and rearing, you will see that your skin also ages and at some point fails. And usually there are different periods of time when your skin can age a little more rapidly. And in my experience, I've noticed that women and men tend to age very fast when they are in after menopause or after andropause. So their skin disintegrates faster. Sometimes you might notice it after an acute illness. Very quickly, your skin ages, or after sometimes childbearing, women feel very depleted and they can experience a quick aging. And then, we bring them back, and there are medications and energy devices that we can utilize and bring you back. Do you recommend doing skin tightening during a weight loss treatment like GLP-1 agonists? For sure. Actually, Ozempic face is something that happens to that we there is a name for it. It's like people who lose weight, and especially excessive amount of weight over a period of a couple of years, or even like within a year, if you lose like 30-40 pounds, you may feel your body might feel good and you might start feeling good, but when you look at yourself, you feel that everything is fallen, and you look saggier somehow, because what ends up happening is that your skin and the underlining of your skin is with fat. And sometimes when you lose fat, you cannot control where you're losing it from. So sometimes when you lose it from your face and your neck and these areas, that fat was holding it up and giving it its shape and volume. So you've lost all that volume, and you've lost the skin, just loses its ability to keep its form. So one of the things that I like to recommend to my clients is to utilize energy devices, which are skin tightening treatments, and that they're non-surgical. And sometimes when you are using GLP-1s for weight reduction, it's very appropriate to also tighten your skin. And it should be, I tell people that when you calculate the cost of your GLP-1 treatments, please add to it skin tightening, because otherwise you may lose the weight, but you may not look young to yourself. Is it ever too late to treat hair loss, or can the right treatment still wake up sleeping follicles? That's such a good question. So sometimes it might be too late. So if the follicles are dead, it's very hard to recreate something that's already died. However, many times hair loss can occur, but the follicles, the actual root of that hair is not dead. It's just gone dormant. So that can be reawakened and that can be recharged. So we do have devices that we can, treat your scalp with. And then we, of course, complement it with nutrients, intravenous nutrients, and we also complement it with nutrients that we place inside your. Actually, I brought another hair serum, like things like there's a serum like this. This thing is called Derive. Now, this is not something that is for sale. This is like you come to a doctor's office and they will give it to you when you go through a treatment. So this is like, it has like ampules. You take out those ampules. Like this has like 10 ampules. You take one and put it in your hair after the treatments with these hair follicle renewing treatments. And these are lasers which also give the hair follicles radio frequency energy, and that basically just pushes them back to life and they start regrowing. We also put something called platelet-rich plasma, which we derive from your own blood. So we draw your blood, we spin it, we take the clear fluid which holds all the growth factors and stem cells and all the interleukins that are good for growing. It becomes like a good fertilizer that we place back into your dormant cells, and that also helps your hair to grow back. However, again, if your hair follicle has been dead and gone for like ages, can you grow it back? No. At that point, we'll probably send you to somebody who can do a transplant of hair. So they'll remove hair from somewhere else and put it on your scalp and grow new hair. However, even the growth. So the reason the your hair fell for the for the first time was whatever those reasons are. If you're not gonna correct those reasons, root reasons for hair loss, the new crops that you may place will also fall off. So how many hair transplants go bad within a few years? Like I can't even count how many people I've met who have lost their crops of hair. And that's one of the things that, you have to find out why you're losing hair. And then you have to also find out how you can, what can you do to keep the new crop of hair if you need a new crop of hair. What causes hair follicles to die? It could be hormones, it could be stress, it could be disease, it could be cancer, it could be chemotherapy. There are tons of things. It could be an injury from outside, it could be an infection. So, a lot of things can cause hair loss. Do you recommend hair transplant? If you do you need to do hair protocols after this process? For sure. So if you got a hair transplant, I always tell people, please come back, do at least every 6 months, do a PRP stem cell treatment. Every month, please do an infusion for hair and skin. So that would be, at least that's, the minimum, the bare minimum. Do the bare minimum to keep it. So if someone has been losing hair for 6 months and now has visible gaps, is it still effective to begin hair restoration? Please go and meet with your dermatologist and let them check to see if you still have hair follicles and if they're still alive. And if it's still, if we can still bring them back to life, they, it's totally worth your while to do it. When hair loss has been ongoing for months and gaps are starting to show, can restoration treatment still help, or has the window closed? The window, if it has been ongoing for years, then I would say the window has closed, possibly. But a few months, that is something that you can recover. Unless it's like some kind of alopecia that is like untreatable or has scarred, there's like some which are so autoimmune, like your own body starts just shedding hair. If it is not that kind of a, devastating hair loss, then you may still have a chance. But again, they will check. So you have to go and get it checked. Because I think 90% of hair loss and stuff can be treated. That's what I say. Maybe 10% is something that's like we can't do anything, please go and do transplant. But I feel that 90% of hair loss or hair thinning or hair issues can be treated. If again, it will cost you money because insurance does not cover it. If we're constantly applying creams and lotions, why do our hands still look dry, cracked, or itchy? If your hands are constantly dry, maybe you need to moisturize it more. One of the things especially when it's winter time, maybe you're dehydrated from within also. So drink more, hydrate yourself for number one. Number two is that then apply moisturizers that are maybe a little more moist, like Aquaphor or Vaseline or something. I used to tell some of my clients that at night when you're sleeping, put some Aquaphor on and then put like a mitten or something so that it doesn't come off, and so your hand can stay moisturized for some time and can hold it. So it's probably cracked or itchy because you're not moisturizing it enough. Do it more. You can't stop. Is it true that men lose hair earlier in life than women? That is true. Men tend to lose hair faster, and that actually goes to show that men experience chronic skin failure earlier. So one of the earliest symptoms of chronic skin failure is hair loss. So your hair is an extension of your skin, and one of the first functions that your skin, when it gets depleted, or when it gets stressed out, that it's going to shut off is your hair. So men lose hair fast. They have a lot more stress than women, even though they may just do less work. I personally feel that they don't bear children, they don't raise children. Women do all that stuff, but still men have different kind of stress. And I think men stress may play a very large part in men losing their hair. How do you know if hair thinning is hormonal or stress related? I think that is something that you can tell I guess you can tell this by just taking a good history. So if somebody is menopausal, for instance, we know if that person, if she's losing hair or her hair is thinning, it's probably because of hormonal dysregulation. However, if somebody is like 25 and is doing two jobs or three jobs and has two children and is uh, also studying and has hair loss, that means that she's stressed. What happens to your brain's hunger signals when you take a GLP-1 agonist? So GLP-1 agonists are they basically turn the volume of food and the food noise that is around us off. So people who have food addiction or any sort of addiction, basically GLP-1 agonists are going to be very useful because they control the craving centers of your brain. There is a part of your brain which I like to call the area 51 of your brain. Nobody knows what's going on there. That area 51 inside your brain carries some neuronal pathways that create a lot of our cravings. So when we are craving food, when we are craving company, when we are craving sex, when we're craving alcohol or any sort, or cigarettes, whatever addiction, think of an addiction, or sugary food. Sugar is one of the biggest and most easily tolerated addictions of our time. And I call it the cocaine of our time. And it's like so easily available. Everybody can have it. And we start feeding it to children when they're little babies. So sugar is also an addictive substance. So we are living our lives in a very hyper stimulated environment, and then what ends up happening is that food is a way to stimulate us. And what these medications do is that it turns the volume of those craving centers down and can also turn it off. And that is one of the reasons that it is so welcomed, because it will remove food as an obstacle from your path. It will remove whatever is your addiction as an obstacle from your path. And it is going to be one of our very important tools, medical tools in our future, where we can guide people how to do it correctly. Because doing GLP-1 agonists correctly will be the key to you using this product for a long period of time. Because people who are going to use it incorrectly or by themselves or from some place where they get it and they don't know what doses they're getting or what product they're getting. I mean, sometimes, people are getting it cheaper from countries they don't even know who produced it. So if you're getting it for that and something happens to you, it's on you, honey. However, if you do it as the way it's supposed to be done, like a medication that is truly important for your longevity and for your future health, or for your menopause, or for any metabolic sluggishness that you experience through your life, or just for sugar neutralizing, just to protect your system from getting oxidized and cooked by sugar, then it is something that should be done under the guidance of a doctor or a nurse, whoever is your physician, whoever is your healthcare provider. So the hunger signals are very easily controlled and managed with this medication. However, just controlling your hunger signals is not enough. For the longevity of your system, I tell ladies that, don't just keep increasing the doses if your hunger returns. do other things also. It's just like a little tool that will help you get to your destination. However, it doesn't mean that you will stop using all your other functions. So please do exercise, please do sleep on time, please try to control and manage your stress, please try to take appropriate supplements, and please try to make sure that you have enough fiber and enough protein to not go in a state of muscle loss. So because you don't want to lose your muscle, you want to lose your fat, but not lose your muscle. One other thing that you also have to understand with GLP-1 agonists is that sometimes if you have a lot of fat cells, listen, when a baby is born, it has maybe like 4 or 5 billion fat cells. But by the time you're a fully grown adult, you may have 40, 50, 100, maybe even 100 billion fat cells in your system. Now, the fat cells in your system are forever cells. They are never gonna die. You will die, your brain cells will die before your fat cells will die. Your hair cells, your skin cells, your brain cells will die before your fat cells will die. So GLP-1 agonists may shrink your fat cells, but they're not gonna eliminate them. So sometimes with our fat cells, when we are decreasing your fat cells, we sometimes also advise our clients that if you feel that you're stuck at a weight and you want to go back down a little further, it may work better for you to use some technology, especially that can non-surgically remove your fat cells and eliminate your fat cells, rather than you going through surgery, or rather than you increasing the dose of GLP-1 agonist to some obscene level, which can cause side effects. So these medications can cause thyroid cell cancer, can cause blindness, and I know people who somebody increased their doses to like the max, and not only they maxed out on the doses, they started experiencing side effects, because that's when the side effects will happen. Increasing the dose of a medication is like taking a tool that is supposed to help you and increasing the speed of that tool. So for instance, if you were in your car and you wanted to go from point A to point B, if you go at 30, 40 miles per hour within the speed limit, you'll reach there whenever you'll reach there, and you have to follow all the rules, and you'll reach your destination safely. However, if you increase your speed to, let's say, 200 miles per hour, you're most likely going to reach there faster, your destination faster, but the likelihood of you killing somebody else or yourself, or injuring somebody else or yourself, will be higher. Similarly, with GLP-1 agonists also, or any other medication for that matter, if we keep increasing your doses and we keep you, on massive doses forever, you are going to end up with a bad result, and you will end up falling off of that wagon. So that's why I say that it's very important that when you do these medications, make sure that you have a health coach or preferably your doctor or your nurse, whoever is managing it, should be well versed in this, should be able to tell you the right thing, should be able to speak truth to the powers that be, and that's how you're going to get the best help. But the thing is that when you stop taking those medications, all of this will come back. Just like people ask me, like, you mean I'll have to take this medication forever? What happens if you stop taking GLP-1s? Does the weight come back? Yes, it does. So listen, fat cells are forever cells. And as you go through life, they will multiply, you are going to eat. Listen, some people are very, very disciplined. But even the most disciplined people, by the time they're going through menopause, the metabolic sluggishness will start making them pack on the pounds. So it's important to use these medications. What will happen if you stop brushing your teeth? Your teeth will fall out. So I'm sure that our and many of our ancestors 200 years ago were not brushing their teeth. However, we are going to brush our teeth even to the last day of our life. We'll be brushing our teeth, and that's that. So these medications are going to become a part of our bodies, and it's a new normal. Does lack of sleep or hydration affect your hair? For sure. My hair gets so dry. Is IV therapy safe for everybody? Depends on who is doing it. Listen, everything is dependent upon who does your treatment. Have inexperienced people hurt people by doing treatments like this? Yes. Please don't go to anybody who is inexperienced, who is not licensed, who does not have knowledge of how to supplement the human body. Please go to people who have the license, the appropriate appropriate knowledge, the appropriate experience to help you. Never go to somebody, and not all intravenous hydration and supplements are created equal. It's just like not all humans are the same. Like every human is different. Similarly, infusions also are different. And the one that I make in this office is basically just for skin and hair. And I have that formula that I have been working on for the last decade, and it is what it is because of the work that I've put in it. What's the most requested drip at Juvanni? The short bag. So we have two bags. So we have a short bag and a tall bag. So the short bag is for short people. If you're short, you use the short one. If you're tall, you use the tall one. And I am not that tall. I'm kind of short, but I like to use a tall one because I have long hair, and I feel that I should use, like, even if I'm short, if my hair is like that of a tall person. Can Chat GPT actually create a good skincare routine that works? I don't know. Can Chat GPT be your next dermatologist? Well, yeah, why not? It's artificial superintelligence. However, what ChatGPT can't do yet is to give you Botox if you need it, or to set up an infusion if you need it, or to give you skin tightening if you need it. It may recommend some topical skincare, which you can purchase for sure. But even that, because it cannot see you that well, it cannot assess your skin failure that well. So I think you might still need to come in. So skincare and treatments for skin, especially medical grade treatments for your skin, that is something that you'll still have to come in and meet with a doctor who can do it. Listen, ChatGPT is good, but I heard that very soon they're putting these guardrails on ChatGPT where when you're going to ask it medical questions, it's not going to answer them. And it's going to tell you to go to your doctor's office, which is terrible. I think ChatGPT should give us all the answers and tell people. It should be the concierge of mankind, the concierge doctor for mankind. And then you can go to your doctor and tell them that, these are my problems and this is something that ChatGPT is telling me to do, and your doctor can probably help you. Do you recommend full body laser hair removal, and in what cases is it most beneficial? So humans are strange. We want hair on certain parts of our body, and we don't want hair on certain other parts of our body. So we want hair on our head, but we don't want hair on some of other parts, because we no longer need hair to keep us warm, because we're not bears anymore. We're not hairy bears anymore. However, hair is a full body laser is for those people who don't want to be who don't have who have a hairy aesthetic, and they don't want it, and they want a less hairy aesthetic. So when you do a laser hair removal treatment on yourself, what you need to know is that is every time you're going to do a laser hair removal treatment, on the body, on any part of the body, you, with each time, it will decrease the amount of hair. The only hair that it captures, the follicles of the baby hair. So at all times, your hair has like 10% of the hair cells are like baby hair follicles. So it catches the baby hair follicles and just kills them. And then it's so every time that you're going to do it, you'll see a 10% reduction. So when you do it 5 times or 6 times, you will see 50 or 60% reduction in the hair of that area, that particular area. So it takes a several treatments. So what I like to tell people, that if you're doing a full body hair laser, just make sure that you start like in October, and so that you get like certain amount of months of laser exposure during the winter time, because laser hair removal should be done only in the winter time, winter and maybe early parts of spring. But the thing is, basically it's winter, so autumn and winter. So October, November, December, January, February, maybe March, and at least you get like at least 5 or 6 treatments in, and that should give you a fair amount of decrease in the number of hair that you're, and it may not be enough, you might need more. So people sometimes need like touch-ups every couple of years, because hair can be very hormonal also, and it might end up growing where you don't want it to grow and not growing where you want it to grow. So for example, men, they may lose hair on their head, but it grows beard. And women, well, after menopause, start losing hair on their scalp, and they start growing a beard. Again, it's very hormonal. So, and stress can make you grow a beard. That's, there is a saying, and that's something that's true. And I've seen like a lot of people, when they go through any form of stress, they start growing hair. I've seen women after pregnancy and childbirth, they'll come and they'll be like, I did like this laser hair removal, and look at me now, all my hair is back. And I'm like, dude, that's all hormones. You were bathing in all these hormones, and they just made you grow your hair back. So just go and get a touch up, and then you do a couple of touch up sessions, and it'll remove it. Is full body laser hair removal safe for everyone, or are there cases where it's not recommended? Mostly, like, so laser, it's basically different skin types, and how far what skin types your laser can treat. So it's usually good for whoever. It's the only people I don't recommend it for are people who have white hair. And so if your hair is already grown white, laser hair removal will not work for you, and you may have to, and you want to remove those hair, you may have to go and get electrolysis and like really burn down the root, because laser only binds to the pigment in the hair, and that's how we remove it. What causes the skin to appear crinkly, scrunched, or crepey? I think it's aging. It can be just aging of your skin. That's why it's good, or it's dry, or dehydrated. Robots can do surgery, so how long before they start injecting Botox and fillers? Oh my God. I think that my job is safe for some time. I think before robot can have like these micro movements of holding a Botox needle and doing, injecting, I think it will take some time to do cosmetics and beauty. Figuring out beauty, and see, beauty is like the tip of all the different functions in medicine. So people who get into beauty are like, they go for that is the pinnacle of achievement. So because one of the first things to go when you're not healthy is also beauty. When you lose your health, the first thing that gets out of your system is beauty. However, I don't think that beauty is going to be in the hands of a robot anytime soon. That is something that we will have to sit with people and then What are the specials for Black Friday at Giovanni? So Kundalini is like the protocol that I have for pelvic rejuvenation. It has vaginal tightening with FemiLift, which is a CO2 laser. And then we also do Alma Duo, which is like more of a topical, and it is a clitoral enhancement treatment. And that is a shockwave laser, which is another kind of energy. So it's like two different kinds of devices that we combine for every person. Alma Duo has no downtime. However, the FemiLift laser, which is a CO2 laser, has a little downtime. Like you cannot have sexual activity for at least a week after that treatment. So for Black Friday, we have the turkey neck treatment. Yes. So it's a Thanksgiving Day, so we are going to be removing your turkey. So that we have like this thing called don't just eat your turkey, melt it too. So if you have a turkey neck and you have like a little fat goblet that is just sitting over there, we are going to do we're offering the skin tightening as well as melting the goblet of fat with either a non-surgical freezing technology, which is via cold sculpting, or we also, if the goblet is not too big to fit into a machine, then we can also give you injections, which are Kybella, which is like a fat melter. It's a injectable fat melter. But Kybella has a little downtime. Meanwhile, cool sculpting and L-therapy do not have a downtime. Oh, and we have Juvanni gift cards. Yes. So the Juvanni gift cards are one of the best things that you can give to a friend. And that is basically you can just purchase a gift card and there's 5% off, there's a 10% off on gift cards. So I'm going to now read to you, if you've not read my short story, it's called The Despicable Life of a Fat Cell, and I'm going to read it to you. So it's a memoir of a fat cell. So I've written it as if the fat cell is speaking. I didn't ask to be born. I was simply a triglyceride vault, a microscopic savings account for rainy days. In the early days of humankind, I was revered. My kind meant survival, fertility, abundance. The great Venus figurines of history were basically my baby photos. But then came the Industrial Revolution, and with it, the great betrayal. Humans discovered how to refine sugar, the most potent neurochemical manipulator since opium. Within decades, the species that once starved now overdosed on glucose. Their brains, hijacked by dopamine and corn syrup, kept screaming for more. And so we grew, we expanded, we multiplied like unpaid interns at a startup. Once noble energy reserves, we became metabolic hoarders. Our cells, our cell walls swelled with industrial snacks and synthetic fats until we started leaking tiny molecular accidents spilling cholesterol into the bloodstream. My LDL cousins, the low density degenerates, took over. They were the biochemical graffiti artists of the circulatory system, leaving sticky plaques on arterial walls like teenagers with spray cans. Cardiologists panicked. They prescribed statins, chemical drain openers for clogged vessels. The humans applauded, mistaking plumbing for progress. Meanwhile, inside, we fat cells were having a full scale rebellion. Fueled by processed foods and microplastics, we evolved into something new, inflamed, irritable, and mean. We crept into livers, kidneys, and hearts, wrapping them up like bubble wrap. Blood pressure rose. The humans swallowed more pills, beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, diuretics, until half their bloodstream was a pharmacy. Then came the pandemic, and we saw our chance. COVID rode our cytokine storms like a celebrity guest on a reality show. Together we took out millions. Those who had fed us best with sugar, stress, and neglect suffered the most. But science, ever the plot twister, struck back. Enter the failed assassination attempts by GLP-1 agonists. My mother always reminded me that I was indestructible. I was as forever as plastic. And actually, thanks to microplastics, many of my brethren are now akin to plastic in the realm of a human body. Anyway, back to the lameness of GLP-1 agonists. Yes, they ended the cravings and silenced the food noise and hunger signals at its neurological root, turned off the dopamine surges after sugar binges, and started shrinking us from the human landscape. Within months, my kind began to vanish like wrinkles after getting Botox. People started calling GLP-1 agonists the Botox for fat cells. Clothes fit again, blood work normalized. Humans rejoiced, mistaking regaining chemical balance for victory, but I was still alive, waiting to be reawakened. If you missed more than a few weeks of dosage, I was back. And yet, I can't help but smirk because I don't feel evil. I am growth minded and very adaptive. Me and my billions of brethren were the heroes of famine, the keepers of warmth, the original life insurance policy. We became despicable only because humans lost moderation. Now, as I shrink into molecular memory, I know the truth. They haven't cured gluttony, they have just outsourced it to a syringe. And when the next great diet craze, stress epidemic, or lab grown snack hits the shelves, or when you miss your doses, we'll be back, dividing quietly in the dark, waiting for our comeback tour. Because fat doesn't die, we only multiply. And yes, we do have an Achilles heel. Don't tell anyone, but you can target freeze us to a specific temperature where we crystallize and die. But that process requires repeated treatments via special machines, which most humans can never afford. In the war between humans and fat, we wait like good villain, rehearsing our lines for a sequel. I hope you guys enjoy this short story that I'm creating to promote awareness and understanding of fat cells. When it exists inside the human body, its importance, its relevance, its history, and its biology in our life and during our pauses and diseases. I hope you enjoy it. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress, but I'm going to try and read it again when I update it. Yes, I end it by calling fat a good villain because not all fat is bad. We do need fat. There is good fat. Like when you go, what is cholesterol? One of the things I like to tell my clients and my patients is that cholesterol is nothing but the poop of your fat cells. So these are tiny little particles that your fat cells create and they excrete it into your bloodstream. And and when your fat cells are diseased and they are under the influence of sugar and cortisol and all the environmental stuff that you are putting inside your system, they become inflamed and they produce evil little particles that will clog your bloodstream, and then that is going to create other kinds of problems, circulatory issues in your system. So when one of the ways to rehabilitate fat cells is with GLP-1 agonists, but fat cells, not all fat cell is bad. Fat is a very important source of, the good fat carries a lot of nutrients and supplements and takes them to the cell. So they also store energy reserves for you. So when whatever you eat, it becomes part of your energy reserves. So fat because we're just eating way too much, and we're eating calorie dense foods, and we're eating so much sugar that produces so much energy that has to be stored somewhere. So so I do say that we are responsible. We have to take responsibility for making our fat cells sick, and for making our fat cells get addicted to different chemicals. And that is the rehabilitation that we need to initiate in ourselves and in our patients. And it's an ongoing story. But again, there are certain parts of your body where the fat cells will accumulate and cause further damage. And then what are you going to do? Because just GLP-1 agonist and increasing its dose to maxing out on its dose is not going to fix it. So at that point, you might have to go and meet with your doctor and then figure out if you are eligible for some non-surgical treatments for fat removal, or if you're somebody who is morbidly obese, which means that you've like crossed the Rubicon border and you've gone to the other side, then you may need bariatric procedures. However, even for bariatric procedures, like now, I think it's going to be unnecessary to have bariatric procedures, because we should be able to relieve you from this with just GLP-1 agonists and non-surgical treatments. Who here has tried GLP-1 and felt food noise? Me? Go away. So the food noise goes silent. So I am a food addict in rehabilitation, in recovery. So good. And it's because of GLP-1 agonists. You write about fat as if it's conscious. Do you think parts of our biology carry memory or intent? 100%. I think every organ inside your system is conscious, and it can hear you. Listen, what you say to me, you may have to speak it, you may have to write it, and that's when how that message will come to me. However, what you say to yourself, even if you think it, every cell in your body hears it. So that's why we say that, the self-talk, we don't talk to others as much as the person that you will talk the most to is your own self. So your fat cells hear you. And the food noise is created by your fat cells. There is like these billions of fat cells in the realm of your body that are alive and that are seeking food, and that you have made addicted to sugar, and they cry for more sugar, and they hear you when you say no. But when you put the shot in and you turn the noise out, you can't hear it. And they also become somehow satisfied because they get rehabilitated. You blend science and storytelling so well. Thank you. I try to make scientific and medical information accessible, because part of healing is also understanding what's going on. So if you don't understand what's going on, you will never be able to fix it. And that's why one of my things is to make this information accessible and understandable. I don't want to make it so hard. I want that you have to go to a med school to understand it. No, and this is one thing that doctors have to work on. We all have to learn it so well that we can explain it to somebody who, in a language that they can understand. One of my things is to also try to say the same things in Spanish and in Hindi and Urdu, which is my language of birth. One of the first books that I wrote is about Botox. It's like, do we really need Botox? And it's a handbook of anti-aging. And that mentions a lot of things that were present in 2019. So this storytelling and some other stuff that I've written since then is going to be in my next book. So please wait for that. So it's all related. It's all about longevity and how to keep your things together, and especially how to keep your system together after the pause has happened, or while the pause is happening. So, how to unpause your pause. That is a very important part of my awareness journey. And this is something that I talk about all the time. I'm extremely passionate about it. And this is, the new journey in medicine. For me, medicine has been a journey, as you can see, like it has been certification after certification after certification after certification. However, we're nowhere near, because remember, learning and education is a journey. It's not a destination. You never arrive anywhere. You basically arrive at a point and you're like, okay, I've understood this, but then several other areas, when you come to that part of knowing, you just realize that there is more knowing. So it's a lifelong learning journey. You can find a lot of my articles on aging, menopause, and longevity on my website, or you can go on YouTube and you can see, I talk about it a lot. And then you can also go on my podcast. So if you're on Spotify or if you're on Apple Podcasts, you should be able to find Bathroom Diaries with Dr. Den. So my podcast is called Bathroom Diaries for a reason, because bathroom is where you face off with yourself. That's where you view yourself without any filters, where you experience the consequences of all your actions, whether they're food related, whether they're movement related, whether they're stress related, whatever it is, you're going to face off with that consequence in the bathroom. So, and especially you notice yourself in the bathroom too. That's where you cleanse, that's where you get ready to meet the world again. So it is that place where you, as you face off with your problems, you come across questions that need explanations and answers and remedies. And that's what we are here to talk about, whether it is weight related, whether it is gut related, whether it is absorption related, whether it is skin related or hair related, whatever it is that impacts your day and your days and your days of your life. We basically are here to answer, whether it is sexual, whether it is just of functional, whatever it is, we want to know about it. And there are answers and there is help. And I call it Bathroom Diaries because that's where we that's where most impact can be made if you do it right. Yes, you make science sound poetic. That is so nice. You are poetic also. And guys, thank you for being here and asking me all these amazing questions. I hope to go live again. I think I have another podcast. So hopefully I'll come and check you guys out again, and we'll do all of these questions one more time and let's see how that goes. Thanks. Take care. Bye.